Hey, how are you?
I am pretty good for the 29th of June.
That is good to hear. Very good to hear. All right. Well, we'll kick off, will we? And welcome everybody to the Public Practice Accountants Club on Clubhouse, where public practitioner, thought leaders, industry specialists, and accountants just like you discuss the hot topics in public practice and how they go about navigating the public practice landscape around the world. So, fundamentally, public practice has the same principles, dynamics, and challenges no matter where we are in the world. We might have some different tax seasons, busy periods, and legislation, but at the core, we are very much the same. So, our room this morning is Happy New Year, the year that was. So, if anybody is listening in from around the world, that big sigh of relief that you can hear is the collective sigh of all our public practitioners here in Australia, because it is the end of our financial year. One day to go, and I think we are all pretty pleased about it. And hello, everybody. My name is Linda Steffens. I am an accountant and author and an introvert, and I've been hanging around public practice now for just on 30 years. But I know one person who is very excited about the end of the financial year. I am too. But my co-host, Kylie Baxter, you've been working real hard these last few months. So I bet you're happy
Yeah.
about it's finally coming to an end.
Yeah. Good morning, Linda. I think for me, this feels weird saying Happy New Year because for me, there's still 2 whole days to go. I've got so much stuff. Please don't tell me I've got no time left because I've got 2 full days of work to go. But yeah, this is always my busiest time of year. Like
Yeah.
we really focus on tax planning for clients and really working in this space so that it makes tax time easier and there's no nasty surprises. So it's a double-edged sword. It's my favorite time of the year, but it's also the busiest and hardest time of the year because this is the stuff that really takes my brain power. But yeah, it's nearly over for another year, and as accountants, we know that we're very blessed. We get 2 Happy New Years, the
We do.
usual December 31 one and the June 31. Celebrate them as you may,
That's exactly right. And I think, something that we don't often do enough of is take the time to reflect, look back, really look at what we've achieved, what we've done. And, particularly in the last few years, doing that's been really, really important because, everyone has been under the pump, learning new things, scrambling to keep up. And it's been a challenging time. So I think now more than ever, really important to look back, hence our room this morning, right?
Yeah. Look, I agree. I think it is really important. And we talked about, the last couple of weeks, we've talked about things that need to be done sort of for the new financial year and getting your practice set up for success.
Yes.
But I also think that this is the time of the year traditionally where accountants have been like, oh, I'll take a break, I'll take a holiday, like I'll get in there before we start this all over again. And I completely get that and completely understand that. And certainly we'll be trying to get a sneaky day or so in there myself as well, particularly with the kids on school holidays. But it's really important that we do both. We recharge ourselves and we recharge and reset our practices.
Absolutely. So just a quick reminder, of course, that we are a CPA discussion group, so you can get your CPE, CPD points for listening in. And a reminder that as we kick off our conversation, that our intention is always to be positive, supportive, and collaborative as we come together in support of our amazing industry, no matter where we are in the world. So reflecting back on the year that was, Kylie, I think talking about our own successes and challenges over the last 12 months, perhaps sharing a gem of wisdom here and there. I know looking back over our topics for the last 12 months, which has been amazing. It's been one of our successes, I think, that we jointly share, is this live stream, the pod that we call it. It's just gone from strength to strength. And I know I'm falling, being in love with it the whole time, but it's just, I really enjoy our Wednesday mornings.
Oh, that's so lovely. Well, you do so much work for it. I really just rock up, as I've said so many times before. Yeah, like I enjoy it too. And I think we're getting some good feedback. So obviously people are getting some things out of it, which is the aim, right? Like I'm really passionate about making sure we give back to the community that served both of us very well over our time, Linda. So yeah, it's important. But yes, definite highlight. I would like it to be maybe 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Apparently that doesn't suit everyone's schedules. But, 7 a.m. works. Like I can make that work.
See the things we do for our industry, Kylie. This is, I think we can give ourselves both a little pat on the back here for, fighting the hard fight and getting up every Wednesday, almost Wednesdays, ready to do this at 7 a.m. to hopefully, serve our community. And likewise, I feel exactly the same way. The accounting industry has given me so much as far as my career, my professional life, and my personal life. And I will do almost anything in my power to help anyone that wants to be helped. And, with whatever knowledge I can share. So that's where both you and I join together and make a fairly phenomenal force with regard to helping accountants out there that are looking for help. So I love that about us and why we'll keep doing what we're doing. But if we have a look at the year that was, I mean, it's still been pretty tough, very tough economic conditions around the world, so the global pandemic continued to play a big role in that, the impact on our lives, the lives of our clients, our own personal lives, our worldview shifting. And as professionals, it's really sort of shone a light on that we maybe, we need to consider doing some things differently. And we've had to, dare I say the word, pivot, to looking at our businesses and what that looks like for us professionally.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that definitely, across my client base as well, I've seen a lot of clients really succeed this year after a couple of more difficult years, and I've seen a lot of clients in the same industries really struggle at the same time. Yeah. So it's been a very mixed bag. I was sort of hoping coming into this financial year that, while we were still affected somewhat by COVID and that sort of thing, we were settling, no more stimulus packages, I guess selfishly, no more stimulus packages that were really going to affect us, that sort of thing. And we've got a few state-based things and which happens anyway, regardless of whether it's COVID or not. But yeah, I think the on-flow effect and the on-flow effect of even, supply shortages and all of that sort of thing, really, and fuel going up and all of that really has thrown a spanner in the works for a lot of businesses that were already probably on their last tether, maybe not financially and maybe not from even a business sense, but just personally, business owners personally were almost at the end of their tether. So yeah, it's been an interesting year in the fact that it's been a very mixed bag of situations.
Absolutely. And I think, something that's very apparent in the accounting industry all around the world is our talent pool and where our teams are coming from and the shift in how people look at how they want to work now and what that looks like. I know we talked about here in these rooms, remote work and flexible work and all of that. And again, there's just so much pressure, not only in our industry, but in a whole lot of other industries around finding staff, and so that continues to be an ongoing thing and challenge that we need to consider and look at.
Yeah, look, I'm at the Gold Coast, like you and I both at the Gold Coast. We already had a problem here because we live in an area that's quite transient.
Yes.
So add this resourcing issue as another layer, and it is almost impossible to find quality staff of the type that I'm certainly looking for. So it does mean that you have to sort of look outside that in-office staff member. I was saying to someone this week, like, fun fact, there's not one person that works in our office like 8:30 till 5 in the office sitting in a chair.
Wow, there you go.
How do we run our business? Who knows? No, I do know. Like, It is. It's getting harder and harder. This staff situation is getting harder and harder. So, you know, whether it's offshoring, whether it's onshore remote, whether it's hybrid, whether it's, you know, flexible work per individual employee, which is what I personally am a big fan of.
Yes.
We need to realise that this whole standard do what we've always done isn't working anymore.
Yes. And I think that that's one of the pure gems I think that we can drop today, you know, is very much that it's not a one size all fits approach, which, you know, traditionally has fitted very well with how we feel about structure and process and how we've managed our teams and managed our work probably up to date. There's some firms that haven't always done that, but, you know, the vast majority probably have. And, you know, as we go into the future, innovation and thinking about things differently is just right on the forefront of what we need to be looking at. So innovating around our work and our teams and what that looks like, right, Kylie?
Yeah, and there's so many other topics that need to come off the back of that. So if you're sort of thinking, all right, well, I'll be able to offer flexible work, you know, they can work a hybrid model, 2 days and 3 days or whatever the story is, or even I'll offer long days and short days or whatever, then we need to start thinking about, well, how can I set that person up for success so that we don't lose efficiency? You know, what about cybersecurity? Like, there's so many other things that come off it. Like, this is not an easy task for employers, and I think in general, people are making it seem like it's no big deal. Just offer them what they want. You know, just do hybrid, just do work from home, just do remote work. It's actually not simple. Like, by the time you get, you know, the employment contract worked out, the safety stuff worked out, the set them up from home like they set up from the
IT worked out.
The cyber. Like, it's a lot, and there's some expense to be considered. So I don't think you have, you know, don't assume that it's easy, but assume that it's worthwhile.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's just going to take some time. And I think, you know, if anybody wants to go back and listen in, there was definitely 2 topics that just came to mind there for me that we did talk about, readily available over on LinkedIn or my YouTube channel. And that was, we certainly talked about remote work and flexible working arrangements. And we also definitely did a 4-day work week one as well, which, you know, had a lot of that in it. So if anyone's looking for any tips, there's some there if you're keen to get some more information about that. And I think, you know, from my own business has struggled through, like many others. And I think it's just through sheer determination on my part, that we've definitely stayed afloat. We've actually kept growing, which has been wonderful. But I know it's been challenging for me and for my team. And I gained a business partner along the way, and we put our time and energy into developing our products and our training programs. And we're really excited about what the future will hold. I started a marketing company, of all things, which, you know, is another avenue for me that helps to support accountants' businesses into the future. International travel returned. That's another thing that was great, personally huge for me, because I was finally able to secure a wedding date after 2.5 years of waiting. Yay! So so we had a lot of cancellations and a lot of reschedules, but we are getting married in October this year. So that's a personally exciting time, something I'm quite happy to share. I also became an FCPA. Thank you. And I also became an FCPA as well at this part of the year. And what I learned about that is I should not wait the extra 10 years, I think, that I waited before I put in an application, which the process was super easy. And all I needed to do was waggle my little tail and get it in there. And take the time to celebrate and recognise these things. I don't think we do that enough in accounting. We get too busy, bogged down into what we have to do every day.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. I did mine this year too, but I haven't had my certificate presentation. And they've actually, so I think the whole process took like truly less than a week. Like, it was ridiculous. I thought it was so fast. I couldn't believe how fast it was. But then they sort of said, because of COVID, we're not having as many certificate presentations. So depending on whether you'll be Gold Coast or Brisbane, it will be 12 to 18 months.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I must have just been right at the right time. So it was all about timing. So I think I received mine maybe January or February. It came through, and then my presentation was the first week in June.
Yeah, I couldn't do the June one because it was my daughter's birthday,
Yeah.
and I just got mine through then. So yeah, really interesting. But I absolutely encourage people to sort that out too. It's one of those life admin things that you just sort of leave to the track.
It is, and you know, if you've got, and I think particularly as women, I think it's even easier for us to push that down. You know, it's like, don't do it. Look, take the time to celebrate, you know. And I know it was a push for me to get to the certificate presentation, but I thoroughly enjoyed the evening. And CPA do a great job of doing that and everything that they do, and they really do make the process easy. So highly encourage anyone out there that you know might have that that skill level or that leadership level that would be appropriate for that. Have a look into it, because it's you know, really easy, really important, I think. Kylie, how about some business or personal successes for you?
Yeah, so business and personal successes. What has happened in the last 12 months? It's really hard.
It is.
I try not to live in the past. I try to live in the future. But if I look back, I won a really good award. I think I was with you, Linda, that day. When was
yes,
that?
You were.
Yeah, Small Business Advisor of the Year, Women in Finance Awards. That was awesome.
Yes.
I was really thrilled with that award after obviously coming through those couple of COVID years and really hand holding our clients through that process, you know. So that was probably one of my favorite awards that I've ever won, to be really honest about it. So that was cool. From a business perspective, we've had a bit of an interesting year. Like, this will sound ridiculous, and even saying it out loud, I still can't believe I did it. But I've actually, we're recruiting at the moment, but during this time, I actually shrunk our team. So
there you go.
Sounds like I'm insane, doesn't it? I really weeded out a couple of staff members that didn't really fit with our mold anymore.
Yes.
Which was a super, super hard decision. Like, I will go hand on my heart and say that was one of the hardest things ever, because lovely people, you know, and at some stage worked really well. But our business is not a static business. Our business is a business that's constantly evolving and moving. And when people don't get on the bus with us and they want to stay at the train station or the bus station, you know, it doesn't work anymore.
No.
So that was a really hard business decision, I guess, to make, because when you are a growing business and you are a evolving business, and you know there is a talent shortage, and you know that it's hard to get staff, to reduce your staff numbers is hard.
Yes.
But the reason that I did that was actually for the health and wealth of the business, you know, like the health of the other staff.
Yes.
When you've got one bad seed, it upsets the apple cart, as we know. And it doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they're not a good fit anymore.
That's exactly it. Yeah, so important. And I think I've been through quite a number of instances where the one person, just for one reason or another, is just not gelling anymore, and it really becomes a lose-lose, both for them and, you know, for the business and the team, everybody. So it's more than lose-lose, it's lose-lose-lose-lose-lose. And so, you know, to turn that around, then to have those good open discussions around what the future looks like with everybody is really important, actually, and we shouldn't avoid that. And I know that's an area at this time of year that I talk a lot with accountants about, because it's not our natural state to go in and want to have, you know, some prickly conversations, dare I say, with over some difficult subjects with team members, or even reflecting on ourselves, taking feedback back and looking at what that means for us. So I encourage us to look at that and take the time to do that, because it can definitely impact your business very badly, actually, you know, and you don't really realize until it shifts, right, Kylie, particularly where there's one person that's just not gelling anymore.
Yeah, and it could be for a variety of reasons. Yes, so that was a tough one, but has worked out for the best as well. And probably a big thing that we've just about to roll out is our pricing increases. So I think this is something that is probably gained a little bit of traction. I've been watching some accountants speak about it over on LinkedIn and Twitter. We are completely on board. I think that if you are in public practice and not considering increasing your prices to your clients, then I don't know how you're doing it, because all of our pricing is going up.
Yes.
All of our subscriptions and our software costs and all of that are going up. Our resources are going up. Our staff are costing us more. We know super's going up that 0.5%, and it's due to go up another 0.5% next year.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us haven't really put our prices up over this COVID time, or if we have, it hasn't been an across the board thing. It's been incremental.
Yes.
So now is a really, really good time to look at your pricing and transparently be saying to your clients, hey, we're increasing your price, and really having that value conversation about this is our value. This, you know, we're not accountants for your budget. We're accountants that offer a service, and this is our value.
Yes.
So yeah, it's sort of exciting.
Yes, that is. And that's another hot topic that also I've been discussing as well, Kylie, you know, in all of the accounting clients that I currently have, is pricing increases, what that looks like. Traditionally, I do this most years, but, you know, this one is a significant one just because of the inputs and everything that is going on. And it's going across the board. And, you know, we need to keep up as an industry as well and serve ourselves and our own businesses as part of this, because clients will be, and even having that discussion with clients as well, you know, that they should also be looking at making sure their pricing is adjusted, because they'd be having exactly the similar things. And I think over these last at least 2 years, we're certainly seeing that clients have needed us more. They've relied on us so much more heavily. They're wanting more advice. They're talking to you more often. So, of course, your value has increased. And I don't think you're going to have any trouble with, provided you're transparent and open about price increases and what that means. And like you said, Kylie, having that value conversation, super, super important.
Super, super important. And I think that if you're not comfortable having those conversations, then you need to rehearse them. If you think that you want senior staff or client services or someone else to have those conversations on your behalf, you need to set them up for success. You need to train those staff members. You need to even give them scripts so that they have some idea what to say. You know, really make sure that this is something well covered, because I think if we prepare for it, our clients, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried that my clients aren't going to accept this from us. But I think that if you are, it's not to say we're not going to get questions about it. Like, I would question it. You know, I've questioned when people have put my feet up.
Of course, it's a natural business thing that we should all be doing. It's not that you're being, you know, picky about it. You're just, you have every right to question.
So you want to make sure, you know, what the situation is. The other thing, and this is like, I guess, a bit of a hot tip, is sometimes we just do the same as last year because it's the same as we've always done, and it's easy. As we put our fees up, now is a really good time to make sure we are actually showing all of that value. So on our invoices, are we still doing one-line invoices, or are we really fleshing it out? On our fee proposals, are we actually making sure that we're gathering all of the data early up front, putting all of the work that we have to do? Are we giving away loan agreements for free? Are we giving away advice about restructuring for free?
Are we giving away advice in general for free?
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, were those trust distributions done? Were they not done? You know, that's an extra piece of work that we need to discuss with them and train them and educate them. You know, what about this whole professional services, income, profits, blah, blah, blah thing? That's going to be another hot topic and another piece of work on top. We need to be warning clients about that.
Yes.
You know, are we sneaking some TPAR reports through because we get to March and go, oh, they haven't done their TPAR.
Yes.
Let's do that for them here.
Yes.
Like, all of this, we need to make sure we're not giving our services away for free as well.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. And I think, you're right in how we approach our work. And often there are things in there that we don't expect. And we know we just need to get them done. So we just go and do them. And, then next thing we feel like, oh, I didn't talk to the client about that. So I can't charge it, And so there's a lot of that happens in the industry. And the management of when phone calls and clients just go, oh, I got a quick question. Oh my goodness, that there is the first signal of giving away free advice, because that will be happening. And that's where your value lies. And I think that's I'd love to do a room on that one day, because that's a whole topic in itself about how you manage that and stop giving away free advice. I know we've done something similar before, but not particularly around the process of phone calls and how to manage that and what that looks like. And I know you have a specific way of dealing with that, Kylie, which, I'm sure everyone could benefit from. So we might do that in the future, I think. But if I look back and think about, or just look at the most popular rooms that we have had and reflect on those a little bit, because there's been some amazing information come out of these. They're just little gems that pop out everywhere. Our most popular podcast actually was, so you're thinking of starting your own firm. So that was back, I think, in October, November, somewhere around there. And I think that talks to, that worldview shift in how we're viewing how we want to work, what we want to do, what's our purpose in life, why are we here? And of course, having a big impact on our talent pool. So funnily enough, that was our most popular one, Kylie.
Yeah, that surprises me in some ways, because, I think I would have thought that our appeal would be to existing people that own practices. So are we looking backwards or are we looking forwards? To know, who knows? I question whether at some stage I would have jokingly said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Possibly.
I'm sure you did. I think we both did.
Possibly. But yeah, no, I think the reason that those rooms work really well, or those topics work really well, is because they're super practical. Like, I am all about the practicality. What can people write down, take away, implement straight away?
Yes.
And for me, that's like, I think you call them, gold nuggets of information. Yes. But for me, it's all about, like, let's be practical. What can I actually take away and use this week here?
Yes. I love that about both of us. I always talk about, I'm all about the how. We need to understand the why and the what, but I'm all about the how and taking action, and hence that flows into what I do every day with my clients. It's all about taking action, and it's something that I think, again, as an industry, it's not our natural state to make quick decisions, do things on the fly, but sometimes there's a call for that. And so, when you've got the right people around you, then you can, when you're supported in that. But just thinking about starting your own firm, I know we talked about how to know when the time is right, and what that looks like for you, and that you don't just sort of wake up one day and go, I'm going to start my own firm today. There is a fair amount of planning that goes into it. Do you have enough money? Can I support my lifestyle? Do I have some realistic expectations here? And what might be the worst case scenarios, So how are you going to find clients? That's another big one that we might not think about. We can get very wrapped up in our purpose and all what we want to do. But realistically, you talked about the practical aspects. How are we going to get clients, and where are they going to come from?
And I think not a trap, but it could be a business plan, that a lot of people go into when they start their own firm is, I'll just set my prices low because I have no overhead. It's just me, and it is what it is. But then you need to have a plan of how, if you want to grow bigger than that, how you're going to change that, or are you happy working with that kind of client forever?
Yes.
And I have to be honest, with the majority of accountants putting their prices up in the next few months, I think there'll be a lot of clients that are price sensitive on the market that will be seeking a new advisor. I really do. So I think that is, if you fit into that sort of lower cost price bracket, it's a great spot to be in. You could get some amazing business growth.
Absolutely. And exactly right. I think it's horses for courses, isn't it? You know, provided your business model and your costing model aligns with that, then go for it. You know, that's exactly right. But, you know, you've also got to look where there's a disparity between how the business is set up and how it's run compared to the client and the pricing that you want to have. Well, then we've got a bit of a problem. So, you know, it has to be aligned.
And also your enjoyment of the work. Like,
yes.
We are in a service industry, right? So we are here to help our clients. And that is the number one thing that I recognize in every single accountant that I come across. We all help our clients, often to the detriment of ourselves and our own businesses, and also our staff. And we don't stop and realize that often enough. But we need to really think about, you know, what impact this whole show having on ourselves and our staff. And I guess I'm getting at this sort of mental health issue. I read this article recently that said that, you know, accountants really need to strap in because mental health in our industry is about to get worse.
Wow.
That scared me a bit. I was like, oh man, like I already think it's pretty bad, you know, like around the traps a bit. You hear about it a bit and it's hard. So I think from a practice owner point of view, if you're not already checking in on your staff somewhat and or have some sort of, even if it's not a formal and structured wellbeing program, have some sort of way where you're doing things with your staff to check in on them, probably now is the time to think about that, because all of the warning signs are pointing towards, that this isn't, that this is a risk factor for us in our businesses.
And it's not going away anytime fast, you know, and it very much is. I think that has something to do with, you know, the type of work that we do, how we go about it, and our general profile of who we are and what our natural instincts are. And so I hope that I bring, when I'm talking to accountants, to bring some awareness around that as to just who we are, celebrate who we are, and, you know, leverage and take that to wherever we want to go. But I think unless you've got the awareness and you just doggedly keep going along with what you think is right or what other people say is right, that may not be serving you well, and it may not be serving your team well. So absolutely, I think, you know, it's horses for courses there, and taking a business mindset around, taking the time to have a business mindset, working on your business and checking in with your team, checking in with yourself, looking after yourself, you know, because again, we can't help anybody if we fall off our perch, you know. So very important that we're doing that. And I love that in accounting, we are such big hearts and humble people. But then we've got to balance that with operating a business or performing well professionally. And so we can't, I suppose, for want of a better word, sacrifice or martyr ourselves to bring that help. You know, there's a business aspect to that as well.
Yeah, and I think often we find that is happening, particularly with our longer term clients. You know, we're over servicing them, we're undercharging them. The clients don't even realise.
No.
So there's not a resentment there because it's our fault and we know it, but the clients don't even know, and they value our service. So you're getting that value and they appreciate it, and you've got that long term loyal relationship. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you're still overworking for them and you're still undercharging them. And it does have an impact not only on us as the business owners, but also our staff as well. So I think it's all interconnected. That's the wicked web that we weave.
Yes.
And we really do. And this is probably something that I would really recommend. If everyone needs to take 1 or 2 business days sometime in the next 4 weeks, and work on their business. Really sit down with 5 questions. These are the 5 questions that I want answered, you know. And they could be different questions. Mine are different questions every year. Like one of my questions this year is, how many staff do we actually need? You know, like I need to figure out of the existing staff, how many days do they want to work? Like, what do they want their budgets to be? Like, it's not, okay, well, this is your budget now, work to it. Now we have to negotiate KPIs because not all of them want to work.
Exactly. And
maximum capacity.
Yes, no, funny that. And so, you know, I think also another great question is, what do we do really well and what do we want to do? and looking at what clients, we were just talking about clients, and what type of client are you interested in. There's no problem with us saying that, there's so much work out there for us. It's everywhere.
Oh.
When we try to be generalists and do everything, that's where, it can certainly drag us down in so many areas. So it's like, work out what you and your team really enjoy. What do you want to be known for? I think that's a great question too.
Yeah, and then profiling your existing client base against that.
Yeah.
So if this is what I want, does what I've got fit with what I want?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. Client segmentation, another thing I've just been rattling on about in the last few weeks. That's great. And more topics that, we talked about, Kylie, that were also very, very popular. Managing change, the practical steps of managing change. Go figure, but there's been a lot of change, obviously, over the last few years. But we talked about, what those steps were, that, there's an idea stage right at the beginning with change. What is it? What does it look like? What are we trying to achieve here? And then it's putting a timeline in place, communicating what a change might be, because change management in accounting, there's pluses and minuses for how you go about it, researching and implementing, and what that planning looks like, the actual implementation itself, testing and trialing the change. Just because we think we need to do something doesn't mean that in real life it actually works out for us. There might have to be some refining going on, which then is the last step. So that was another popular thing that a lot of people tuned into and listened to replays as well, Kylie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think change management is one of the hardest things because we're not taught that, right? Like we go through this whole professional university degree, CA, CPA, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I don't recall being taught how to manage change.
No.
So you sort of get out and same with like our senior staff coming up through the ranks and suddenly they're junior partners or whatever. No one teaches them how to manage change. So I think having that process and those five steps, is really, really helpful because it means that you have an application. How am I actually going to implement this? What do I do? Where do I start? And we all just want a place to start.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're all busy. We've got busy lives, full-time jobs. It's like, where do you start? Just some advice on that. And of course, cut the clutter, the zero inboxing for accountants. Another big one, Kylie. Can't believe it, Yeah.
I believe it. There you go.
It is. Both you and I are proponents definitely of zero inboxing, each in our own way. And, but recognizing that, emails can be a huge drain on our energy levels, our mental capacity, and of course our time and effectiveness. So, across the board, and having some good things in place around your email management, and then leading your team to do the same thing is a really smart thing to do. So zero inboxing, and a couple of rules around that we determined were important, that separating the management of emails and what that looks like from the actual work in the email. So I think where we can fall into the trap and go down rabbit holes with our emails is trying to do everything in an email as we read it. And next thing you're an hour in and you've answered one email. So, that's, you've got to look at how you're spending your time and where it's best managed and where you should be doing, when and where you should be doing things. And of course, I like the 2-minute rule. If in an email you can't complete everything about that email in 2 minutes, then that's an email that needs to be managed and set aside and worked on later. So that's how I determine what needs to be worked on right now or what needs to be managed. And then, of course, scheduling or blocking time, which I know you're a big fan of, Kylie, blocking time to actually do the work.
It's blocking time changed the way that I work, which sounds so cliche, but it's really, really true. I'm in a couple of accounting groups because that's the sort of dorky accountant that I am. And we're talking.
We love that about you.
I saw a post the other day about newsletters, and someone was like, I just don't understand how people find the time to send newsletters. And I was like, and just, because I'm happy to share, I subscribe subscribe to a newsletter, and then I get it, and then I take out the bits that I don't like, and I add other things in that I want to add in, and I just basically Kylieise it. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a joint effort, as I'd like to say.
Yes.
And I said to this person, oh yeah, it takes a couple of hours probably from go to woe. Like by the time you, but I personalize it. Like I think if you were happy just to send out the one, like it'd be like 20-minute exercise. And they came back and they said, oh, I still just don't know where that time goes. And it was my solution was, yeah, it's time blocking. That time is scheduled in my headspace and my calendar and my diary. And if the time gets pushed, then I know that I've got a backup space for it.
Yes.
Like that time is there and it's carved out. So it's protected. So I know that I'm the only one that gets to make that decision about that time.
And
changes your life.
Yes, I agree. And, you certainly realise when you go against that blocking and that scheduling that you have in your diary, your day and your week can just go to rubbish, really, can't it? And you really rely on it. And the universe has a wonderful way of giving you a good hard shake to make you realise that, oh, you missed that this week. You should get back into that schedule.
So I did time blocking with tax planning appointments this year. In the past, which my client services was a bit like, about
it's all right, we can do it, don't panic.
In the past, I've just sort of like opened my calendar and said, these are the days or whatever, and it's pretty much towards the end of the season, like at this time of, or not on the 29th of June,
no,
it's way too late now, but
April, May.
Probably last week would have been mental because everyone's booking in last minute.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. I basically started tax planning season opening up very few times and days and said everyone that has responded has to be fit into these times. And I will say I was almost to the point of inflexible because I knew that to give my clients the best service here, I needed to have one full day between full days of appointments so that I could plan appropriately. Like usually at this time of the year, and I do look like it's the 29th of June, but usually mentally...
Gorgeous as always, everybody, for those that can't see Kylie.
No, I would like to think that I look better than this. But usually, like I feel mentally a lot more drained than this, and I really wanted to protect that because otherwise what happens is all my clients that do tax planning at the beginning of May get like 10 out of 10 Kylie, and the clients that do tax planning in the middle of June might get 6 out of 10 Kylie. And I was like, how do I make sure that everyone gets let's be real, everyone gets 9 out of 10
and everyone gets 9 out of 10. Yes.
Like how do I make this fairer? So I decided to time block and only take appointments on a 5-day rotating fortnight. So two days 1 week, 3 days the next. And I take we all work differently. Like I would do a stack load of appointments each day and really slam through them. But I need those days on either side to self-protect. And I was also self-protecting my weekends as well.
Yes.
So that it's my choice to work. I wasn't being forced to work.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I was forced to work in the end because clients didn't have data files up to date.
Didn't have their act into gear. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But that's okay. Like that happens at this time of year. I wasn't resentful of that. At least I had, on the whole, I protected my time. So it was a win-win. And guess what? Clients were a bit like, oh, I don't want that time. But they did. More than
then they worried about the time. Yeah, exactly. And I think you've just nailed another perfect room for us to do there about protecting our time, being able to give 10 out of 10 service to our clients, because you're right, we do get caught in the trap of trying to service everybody when they want it, and guess what, they all come at the same time wanting the same thing, and then you're, as some of our good clients that have been loyal and with us for so long, and the ones that don't tend to be squeaky wheels are the ones that get the 5 out of 10, and that's really just unfair. And so that's something I think in accounting we can be a little bit better at right across the year, and just how we approach our work. So you're just giving me gems of topics here that we'll start rolling out. So I think that's a really cool one as well. And also then when we talked about, and this made me very uncomfortable, was normally I'm obviously here running the show, talking to Kylie, asking her all the questions, and she decided she'd turn the tables on me a little while back and asked me a whole lot of questions. But of course, thank you for doing that, Kylie. I think we should do more of that. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I really liked it. Actually, and I've only gotten partway through it, but I saw that you were interviewed by Michael Edelston. Is that how you say his name?
Edelston, yes.
Lovely man. I've met him a couple of times now. And the bit that I've listened to sounds fascinating. He asked you some great questions.
He is, and I think that's the real key to podcasting, and it's drawing out what is there, or just zooming in on little things that people just say off the cuff, and you're like, hang on a minute, that's really exciting. Someone would like to know more about that. And yes, he's very good at that, and it's very interesting to have someone else's perspective around what you do every day, and things that are just normal. You don't pay too much attention to them, but when someone else asks the question, it's like, oh, wow, that must be important. So, it was cool to do.
Yeah, so total tangent. But one of the things that I've seen flagged from that discussion that you had with him was that I think you said, I think accountants need 5 years worth of advisor, 5 years worth of practice to be an advisor. I'm going to go on the record and say these accountants are coming out so green, but 6 months in are like, oh, well, obviously I'm ready to give advisory now, I'm ready.
Yes.
So and it's probably not a discussion for today, but I've dealt with that in different ways before to make it a win-win for us and the employee.
Yes.
And different ways to get them involved. So yeah, we should have a chat about that, because when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I so agree with you. I so agree with you as well.
And I think the thing is too, you're right. So, Michael comes from the recruitment aspect of things, and he's dealing with candidates every day, and they're clearly saying that, yes, well, we want to have client contact and all of that, and that's exciting. But I think then and I'm not trying to, stop anyone from doing any of that. There's ways that you can do that along the way and improve your skill and learn, and then, full-blown advisory 4 or 5 years into it, because they're just, when you understand really what goes into it and thinking about what it is, you'll understand why. So it would be a great topic. But I know when we talked about why advisory is not the answer, it was that often we find in accounting, clients don't want to pay for it when we talk about it. You can feel a lot of the time like you're selling, and not most, but quite a fair proportion of accountants just aren't 100% confident in actually delivering it. And I know that one thing, again, it was one of these run-of-the-mill things that I say that you picked out, was about the definition of advisory and what that is, that it is actually different for everybody.
100%. What's the actual service offering?
Yeah, and what is that for you and your firm? And as I was saying before, pick out what you like to do, where you find your strengths, what really gets you excited, about a client appointment, or talking about a particular client or their issues, or what that looks like for you. So it's all about defining it, and then really just having a process to follow. So they were the big key rooms that we did over the last sort of 12 months, Kylie. So anything pop out for you that you reflect on as being something that was huge for you?
My goodness, we've done so many rooms. My brain is on fire. That's how I've been explaining to people how my head feels. It feels like my brain is on fire. No, I think for me, my favorite part of this is when people interact with us. So I love that we've been getting feedback. I love it when people chat to us in the side channel in Clubhouse. I love it when people respond to you through LinkedIn or YouTube. I think that's what makes it a real discussion and what makes it interactive. So that is the highlight for me, and even people reaching out in between the weeks. If anyone has any topics that they would like us to cover, please reach out to one of us. We're always happy to do that. and saves our brain power also.
It does. And yes, absolutely. And, I think probably for both of us, we're active on LinkedIn, and, we're easy to find on LinkedIn. And so, if you can, of course, message us privately over there, and we will definitely respond. So that's probably the easiest and fastest way to get in contact. But, and we're going to celebrate our New Year's in our own style. We're going to have a little break, aren't we, Kylie? We're going to have just a couple of weeks off, and enjoy some time and get our own businesses all back on track and sorted out for the next financial year as well. But we will be back bright and early on the 20th of July, Wednesday the 20th of July, and we've got a bit of a cool topic for you, of course. How to scale when the fish aren't biting. Hacks to level up in a talent squeeze is our topic. So all about how do we deal with this talent squeeze crisis? What do we do? How can we keep our firms moving forward? So Kyelie and I are going to delve into that and see what we come out with.
Actually, that's really interesting. And I think between now and then, obviously, it's a really fun time of year for us as accountants. We've got STP finalizations, TPAR reports, all of that cool stuff to get done and scale. And a lot of firms just sort of palm that off back to clients or bookkeepers or whatever, and that's fine. But for those that do assist their clients, now is a really great time to go, are we just going to do it the same as last year because we did it that way, or is there a different way? So at the moment, I'm just, about to press send on the email that's linked to a form that then sends it through to our Slack channel, which will create a task and then a fee proposal and blah, blah, blah. It's fun, know. So please, if you are coming into this time of the year where there's a lot of repetitive work, now is a really good time to think, is there a better way to do it?
Absolutely. And I think looking forward, regardless of what your 12 months has been like, the future is bright. And you're right, Kylie, let's be smart about it and get out there and learn, get curious, ask questions, and really just learn some more. I think it's opening your mind, challenging your thinking, and don't be afraid to try something new, because the world's presented us with some unique circumstances, and we can embrace it and move forward with it, or we can hunker down and not really go with the flow. But I think it is bright, the future. So, and I always love to say, through change comes freedom, another one of the things that I just say off the cuff. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed our chats for the last 12 months, Kylie, and of course we'll keep going. Thank you so much for all the time that you put into this and getting up early on a Wednesday. It's appreciated by everybody.
Thank you, Linda, for everything you do. Enjoy your couple of weeks break, and we will be back on the, what date?
20th.
20th.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys then.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.